Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
So how did I get in this situation? Before I tell you the story, let me first preface this by saying that last year, maybe about August or so, I had started having issues with my sciatica nerve on my left side. And I thought it was because I was sitting on the bleachers at my son's. I had two boys playing football for their prospective schools. So I'm thinking it's because I'm sitting on the bleachers, aggravated the nerve. Well, as time would go on, I would get steroid shots and things like that, and it would get better, and then it would come back. So fast forward, I'm still having nerve pain issues in October, November, December, and by January of this year, I wasn't even able to really walk. I was literally limping to the point where I just couldn't walk. My last day at work, matter of fact, I could not walk from an office door to another office door, and they had to wheel me in a chair with wheels to get there. So that's kind of how I knew that things were getting bad. Well, on January 15th, so now fast forward, January 15th, we had a snowstorm here in Tennessee. And on January 17th, I was trying to go to the pharmacy to pick up some medication, and I fell off my porch, slipped on some ice and fell off the porch. It was a very hard fall. I fell on my tailbone. My left leg, which is the one that has the nerve issues, turned or went behind me. So the leg bent behind me. My right leg turned to the right on the fall. And I was trying to make sure I did not hit my head on the ground. So it was cold outside. Luckily, my boys found me and they came to help get me up. It took about 40 minutes for me to get in the house from being on the ground like that. I could not stand up. I could not, I couldn't even barely crawl inside the house. I hit so hard. So after I got in the house and took medication for about a week or so, I'm like, I'm not really getting any better. Yes, it was a hard fall, but I'm trying to limp my way to the bathroom. I had ordered me a cane, Amazon, trying to get around my house, go to the bathroom. Anytime I would stand up, I would scream because my left leg would hurt so bad because of the nerve pain. So on January 23rd, I went to my PCP and it was in tears, and she gave me a Toradol shot and a steroid shot. I told her I had fallen, all those different things. That's all she did. Fast forward a week later, I decide I'm going to go to the emergency room. Our emergency room here where I live at is a standalone ER, meaning that, well, it's standalone. So that Sunday, February 4th, I decided to go to the ER because I wanted to rule out that nothing was broke because I didn't get any x-rays. When I told the PCP the story, she didn't say, well, let's get some x-rays to see. Didn't do that. So I said, you know what, just to rule it out, to give me peace of mind, let me go ahead and see if I have broken anything. So when I go in on February 4th to the ER, they do a CT, and he said, I don't even know how you got in here. He said, your back is fractured. You have a compressed disc, which I already knew about because I knew that from my nerve issue. And your hip is also fractured. I cannot send you home like this. If you move or try to walk, it's a great chance that you'll be paralyzed. So he sent me via ambulance to the hospital, the main hospital. When I got there, I went to get MRIs when I got there. That was a Sunday that happened. On Monday, I think that's when they sent me for MRIs to get a better look at my hip and my back. And sure enough, my back was fractured as well as my pelvic bone, my hip bone. So they said the same thing, and they put me on immediately non-weight bearing for my hip on my left side, and they scheduled surgery for February 6th. Well, the OR was not available February 6th, so it rescheduled it for February 8th. And then we had the second one, like I told you before, on the 14th. So that is how I got into this situation. So currently, not currently, at that time, they had to say, okay, your situation was so grave that if we did not do any intervention, you would be paralyzed. So I'm not one to say, go have back surgery, because it was brutal. But in this situation, I had to, because otherwise paralysis was my other option. So that's the reason why they did the back surgery first, because of paralysis, with the plan to do hip surgery, hip replacement in the future. Now, this hospital is not my in-network hospital for my insurance, but that is the closest one. Vanderbilt is my in-network hospital, which is like 40 minutes away. So for an emergency, I'm not traveling 40 minutes for an emergency. So that's why I opted to go to the ER that was closest to me. Due to the gravity of the situation, the insurance did allow that hospital be in network for emergency services. So that's kind of what happened. So fast forward into today, I've told you about 18 weeks post-op now from my surgeries. I am recovering well from the back my fusion, but I still have to get my hip done. And so yes, so imagine 5 months of having a fractured hip that you were having to get around like that with. And so that's probably what has delayed a lot of my healing from my back, because of the fact that I am not mobile or as mobile as I should be in a normal circumstance. So there was just a lot going on. So I have my consult on Friday this week for my hip, and I've already got up-to-date MRIs and up-to-date x-rays. So hopefully on Friday, we can start discussing a date for my hip replacement. So yes, your girl hit hard. I hit the ground hard and broke everything, basically is what happened. And I'm looking forward to the surgery. Hip replacement typically is what I hear is not as bad as spinal. I'm looking forward to the surgery in the sense that it will give me back a sense of normality when I get back from recovering from that particular surgery. On a lighter note, positive note, today I was able to drive for the first time. Keep in mind, you drive with your right leg. It's my left one. My left hip is broke. So I was able to get in the car and drive today, and that made me feel so good, like so much like normal. I'm more out now that I've been out driving. I went driving. I went to the Kroger's, I went to a UPS store, and I went to somewhere else, Target. Now, my son did all the walking in terms of going in and get what I needed, but it felt so good to be able to do something that was normal again for me. Now, I do know this is short-lived because once I have surgery, I won't be able to drive again, but at least it allows me to be able to be more independent. And in my situation, my oldest daughter, who's 26, would take off work, and she doesn't live in the same city I live in, to take me wherever I needed to go. And she would come about once or twice a week to do so. And so I'm just grateful that now I can do for myself to a certain degree. I went practice driving today to take my son to his football practice at his school. I did get on the interstate today. What I have noticed in terms of today, my driving or what my abilities are, I cannot turn really well to my left. So I have to like literally twist my whole torso. So when it comes to things like pulling into a parking spot, backing up is not a good thing for me. I need to be able to pull out when I drive. So today was a great day in terms of a milestone that I made. So I'm now doing pretty much everything. And how am I getting around? I get around when I'm out with a wheelchair. I have a wheelchair. And then in the house, I have a rollator. So the rollator, is like a walker, but it has a seat on it. So in my house, I use the seat to get around because I'm non-weight bearing still. And so imagine being non-weight bearing from February to really January, because I couldn't walk then either. January till now we're mid-June. And so sometimes it gets to be a bit much when you are trying to get around and you have to process everything. Everything's a process. To go to the bathroom is a process. To shower is a process. Everything's a process for me. So keep the prayers coming. I am feeling much, much better. But that is the story of how I got here.